People see success and they see the highlights, the big moments. But what they don't see are these moments. The ones that look like nothing. It's just you, an empty street, and the same weight you lifted yesterday. And the day before. When I was a kid, sports were just this thing I kept trying to catch up to. Everyone around me seemed to have a head start. I was always a step behind, missing shots, feeling out of place. I didn't understand why it looked so easy for everyone else, why I always felt like an outsider looking in. But then I found something different. One day, I stumbled on this guy online, lifting weights in this tiny, empty room. No cheering crowds, no glamour, just him and the iron. There was something about the struggle. It was raw, real. It made me think, maybe this is something I could do. A grind that didn't need talent, just persistence. My first gym membership. I remember walking in, my hand shaking just touching the weights. Just lifting anything felt like a mountain. But I knew this was it. That day, I lifted the bar, and it might have been the lightest thing in the room, but I walked out of that gym feeling like I conquered something. And from that moment, I was hooked. Consistency. Day after day. Showing up even when it felt pointless. Even when I could barely see a change. Most of the time, it didn't look like progress. It looked like the same thing, over and over. Every time I felt that way, I just told myself, one more rep. My first competition. I remember sitting there, surrounded by people who seemed like they belonged. I wasn't there to win. I didn't even think I could. But for me, it was about proving that I could stand there, nerves and all, that I could show up for myself, no matter what happened. Trying to think of how to kind of address this subject, but the whole reason behind having such a tight-knit community, and why I'm so hyper focused on making community and powerlifting in general something that feels friendly and family oriented, is because of my past and the people that have been there to support me, and how we support each other as a friend group, as a support system. Something that is a really touchy subject for me is one of my really close friends, who you would think is the most cheerful and most he's very down to earth person. You would never think that he was kind of struggling with anything. And if I'm ever having a bad day, or anyone in my friend group is kind of just ever having a bad day, this person would just put whatever issues and problems that he was dealing with to the side and be there for us in just any way that he could, inside of the gym, outside of the gym. And the most interesting place that I met him was the gym. So instilling this community is something that really means a lot to me, and it's just a really touchy subject, something to talk about, is because he took his life, and maybe I wasn't there for him the way that I could have been, or our friends weren't there for him the way that we should have been. And that is the sole reason why it is my mission to make sure something like that kind of never happens again. I mean, fitness in general is something that I'm super passionate about, and I know that fitness is definitely a coping mechanism. It could be powerlifting, it could be bodybuilding, it could just be working out in general. It's a coping mechanism for people to deal with whatever issues that they're going through. And just having a friend, having an organic relationship at the gym, meeting someone who is going to be there to support you, and you can build that friendship along the way, is something that I really value. I dearly miss Wee. He's one of my close friends who unfortunately passed away. I wish that Wee, if you were here, I wish that we would have spent more time together. Just in general, I wish I could have been a closer friend to you and been there and supported you in ways that you supported me. You never really showed any of your darkness or any of what was going on. So you handled your issues the way that you felt they needed to be handled. And I wish that we would have sat down and talked about whatever it is that was bothering you. And that is something that I still really think back to this day and wish that there were more text messages, there were more calls, there was just something more that I could have done to have been there for you in a better way. I sincerely miss you, and it is hard to see and envision a life without you in it. I know that you've listened to me for hours, countless hours, talk about this goal of opening a gym, pursuing a career in the fitness industry, and you've helped me just evolve into a better athlete. I feel like a better person just by the conversations that we've had, just how to deal and react to certain situations. And I truly, truly miss you, and the powerlifting community, the community in general misses you, not just the powerlifting community. We all miss you dearly. And this is something that means a lot to me. So doing this kind of in your memory and I promised you that this was something that I would do, and I'm not the type of person to go back on my promise. So I know that you know that I'm that person, and I will continue to make a memory of you through whatever it is that I do, because you mean a lot to me. People look at strength and think it's about showing up and grinding, but that's just one part of it. Real strength is carrying the weight of the ones we lost. It's the promises we keep to the people who aren't here to hold us to them. I used to think strength was something I had to prove to the world. But now I know. It's about the promises you make in the quiet. The ones no one else will ever hear. I keep going because he's still here in every lift, every breath. DNA isn't a place. It's every person who's pushed through the hardest days, every bond that lifted us when we were down, and every legacy we carry forward. Strength is in each of us, and together we make it real.